It just never fulfilled anything. It's like we have to fulfill everything that we say we're going to do, but it's okay if the government doesn't, you know. And I left because of a lot of reasons.
You said you would love to testify against these people. Why?
The first trial, I was so scared. I was in tears for days, and when I got up there, I loved it. It was great. It was really good to be on the right side of the law again, and we're really just hoping to get back up there and do this again and put these people away.
What do you think of people who are still in the program? Do you think they'll be sort of used and thrown away too, or
people that are in the program?
People who are still in the program, Beasy and some of the other ones.
I don't know I don't know anything about what's going on with them or whatever. So.
What do you think of the program in hindsight now?
Not only kill one another, they would begin to tear down the mob's very structure in Philadelphia. On one side, the forces of mob kingpin John Stanfa, who had the blessing of the New York mob. Lined up against Stanfa, Skinny Joey Merlino, Stanfa's one-time soldier and now his rival. Police believe it was Skinny Joey Merlino who ordered the hit at the diner. The target was Stanfa's second-in-command, Joe Cingolini. Although Cingolini survived, he was crippled. Stanfa demanded revenge. He ordered the murder both of Merlino and of Merlino's number 2 man, who just happened to be Joe Cingolini's brother, Mike. The two brothers, in opposing mob factions, were sworn enemies. Stanfa personally outlined the plan for killing the 2 men. Openly orchestrating a hit is a peculiar move for a mafia don. Usually the boss lets an underling give the actual order, just in case the FBI might be listening in. But Stanfa did it himself. Bad move. The FBI was listening as Stanfa and a soldier, switching back and forth between English and Italian, planned Merlino's murder.
Put it downstairs a minute. Put it in the trunk. Sai che fa? Qui chiudo dentro. Ci fai gli allegni. Ci mandiamo a moglie. That's it. So, we put in an envelope. Mettiamo stamps.
The FBI must warn any potential victim of a murder if it knows of a plot against his life. And agents did alert Skinny Joey Merlino. Merlino ignored the warning. Meanwhile, to carry out the contract against Skinny Joey Merlino, Stanfa chose a young mafia wannabe named John Vesey.
John Vesey was a South Philly born and bred neighborhood tough guy, and he wasn't very big, but he was tough.
Vesey quickly teamed up with another young would-be mafioso, Philip Colleti. By day, Colleti was a legitimate plumber. By night, a mob hitman. No one in his nearby New Jersey town of Glassboro suspected the double life.
A lot of people didn't know. All of our neighbors loved us. We were constantly working on the house, having barbecues. Every kid in the neighborhood was at our house. It was very normal. And then there was the dark side.
Now, the interesting thing about Phil Colleti is not only Phil Colleti, but his wife Brenda. Brenda, the former nude go-go dancer, is involved in the plots to kill Merlino and the Merlino associates.
It was very unusual. Women aren't supposed to be part of this. They're not supposed to hear things, or if they do, they don't get involved and they just play dumb. But I felt honored. I felt privileged. I enjoyed it. I had a burning desire to be part of it, that thrill and that danger.
The Colleti home was used as a think tank for the hits.
They would come over. I'd be cooking my macaronis and pouring the wine, and we would just be sitting there eating and drinking and plotting these things.
The question was how to kill Merlino and his number 2 man. One of the schemes even included Brenda herself. The plan was for Brenda, armed with poison in an eyedropper, to visit Merlino's favorite hangout.
I was like, I thought about it. I was going to get all dressed up, really sharp, try and look all young and sexy. Ha ha ha. Go down there and shoot some cyanide into their drinks. I had more balls than half the guys that was working for John Stanfa.
But the cyanide plot was vetoed. Instead, the hit team decided to build a bomb. They called their bomb the Egg. Lucky for Merlino, the egg was a dud. The hit team placed it under Merlino's car, and nothing happened.
It's in a box under the car. It won't go off. The car pulls out. It's dragging the box with the bomb underneath it.
So in August 1993, Philip Colletti and John Vesey decided to use the time-honored mafia method, plain old bullets. As Skinny Joey Merlino and his second-in-command walked out of their favorite hangout at 6th and Catherine, Colletti and Vesey opened fire. Michael Cingolini died on the spot.
And they wounded Joey Merlino, shot him in the butt, and then they took off.
Merlino survived. The hitmen ran for cover at Colletti's mother's house. Then Brenda helped them destroy the rented getaway car so that it could not be traced.
We drove a few blocks away, and they took the car. It was a brand new Taurus, and they torched it.
Brenda reported the car stolen.
Brenda Colletti. She was the wife of mob hitman Phil Colleti.
How many people did your husband kill?
He's killed 2 people.
You said there were a couple of times when you could have potentially killed somebody.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've had conversations with other people about actually pulling the trigger.
Would you have?
Would I have?
Could you have?
That's a hard question. I might have. I might have.
She did come close to murder, once planning to kill a rival wise guy, Skinny Joey Merlino, by slipping cyanide in his drink. Her husband stopped her then, but she did help him burn a car he'd used in a mob hit, lied to the cops to back up his alibis, and stashed his weapons. All this while living in a quiet Philadelphia suburb where the neighbors knew them as an average couple raising their little boy, Paulie.
On a normal day, we'd be out mowing the lawn and barbecuing and playing with Paulie and the dog, and it was so normal. It was great. And then there was other days where we'd have people over the house, bringing Mac 10s with silencers for Philip to fix. And at one point we had a bomb in the house.
A bomb?
We had a bomb in the house. There really was. It was 2 lives.
She describes herself as a country girl from Massachusetts, but there was trouble for Brenda Colletti right from the start. She dropped out of high school and was arrested several times for carrying a gun. She married young and ended up working in bars and clubs on the fringes of Philadelphia.
I couldn't make it on a minimum wage job, and I started dancing. And
what kind of dancing are you talking about? Stripping, that sort of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm proud of, but at that time, I did what I had to do to keep my family alive and going.
In 1989, she left her husband for Phil Colletti. They married a year later. Colletti was an unemployed plumber with a mean streak. He'd once shot a man dead in a dispute over a parking space. And he'd grown up on the streets of South Philadelphia.
Well, you know, most of the guys that are wise guys grew up and come out of this neighborhood.
George Anastasia covers the mob for the Philadelphia Inquirer and is a consultant for Prime Time on this story.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a guy on the corner who's booking numbers. I mean, so he's booking numbers and he knows somebody who knows somebody. And to you, he's a guy on the corner, and, you know, you grew up around it, you don't think anything of it.
Phil Colletti began working as a soldier for the crime family of John Stanfa. At first, it was a good life for a mafia wife.
It's a power trip. You know, you can just walk in somewhere and they seat you right away, and they just wait on you hand and foot, and you feel like king and queen, and it was nice, you know.
So there were some attractive things about being involved with the mob.
Oh yeah, a lot of people fear you and they respect you, and that's all part of that power trip, and it just keeps you going.
Police this afternoon combed the shooting scene at 6th and Catherine for evidence.
In 1993, a bloody power struggle erupted between the Stanfa clan and the rival Merlino faction. On August 5th, Joey Merlino and one of his soldiers were ambushed outside their clubhouse in South Philly. Merlino was wounded. The other man was killed. Phil Colletti was one of the 2 triggermen.
Weren't you shocked? Weren't you distressed?
Yeah, I was shocked. There was a lot of thoughts running through my head. At the time, honestly, one of the thoughts was, yeah, we got one. You know, we were in the middle of a war. It was a war. It was them or us.
Brenda Colletti became her husband's partner in crime.
You carried a gun all the time, right?
All the time. And at night, we both had one under the mattress, under his side and one under my side. That's right.
And you were prepared to use it?
In a heartbeat.
She says she never actually did pull the trigger, but admits helping plan some of the rub-outs with Phil and other Stanfa hitmen, plans that often had a way of going wrong.
Wrong shells in a shotgun. They walk up to a guy, point the shotgun, pull the trigger, nothing happened. They stole a car one time to do a hit, and they couldn't get the car started that morning, so they couldn't use it. There was another hit where they used the car, at least in their own name. You know, one of the lawyers said, good fellas, this is dumb fellas.
Either way, they were not all fellas. Brenda was no mobster's moll, not a typical mafia wife who stays in the background. She was a player. Once she was summoned to a rare audience, rare for a woman, with the Godfather, John Stanfa.
I was honored. I mean, I'm a female, and he's talking to me about doing something illegal. I mean, and just being around all that power was very rare. It was a thrill.
But it wasn't.
But you won't.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more of our content. Feel free to give your feedback and suggestions on what we should do next in the comments. This is Infinite Lee Productions. We love ya.